point.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, so beautiful. Thank you.
I miss those faces.
Yeah.
I miss those faces and those voices.
Well, welcome everyone. That little video was thanks to some members of our youth choir, and Cantor Peicott is a beautiful way to welcome Shabbat. It's been a long week and a difficult week, I think it's fair to say, for most of us, most of our country, most of the world. And so we really have earned this Shabbat, this opportunity to breathe, relax, and contemplate and think about the future with hope, which is what I'll be talking about in a little while. But let's welcome Shabbat first officially with candles and Kiddush and Motzi. And we have two beautiful B'nai Mitzvah with us and their families. There's the Gonen family, and where's Rabbi Nickerson and Julia and their family. We've got
Hi, guys.
Welcome. Congratulations to you, Lev, and to you, Ella. We're so proud of you and everything you've done to get to this point. So let's begin. And we're going to ask our moms, I think, to light our candles. See, we've got two methods here, old school and new school.
Beautiful. We're going to join together in the blessing over our candles. We bring in the light of Shabbat 3 times. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We invite you at home and, of course, our B'nai Mitzvah families to join us in sanctifying this Shabbat together with the Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikrai kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim ve'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat lechayim. And last but not least, we join together in our motzi. Let us see those beautiful chalots that we have, gluten-free in the Nickerson house, I'm guessing. Oh, beautiful.
Nice. Wow.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. B'tei avon. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Shabbat shalom to our B'nai Mitzvah. We're so excited for you. Lev, I'll see you tomorrow morning. And Ella, I wish I could be there, but I had the pleasure of teaching you. So I know that you're both going to be absolutely incredible, and we're so excited for you and your families. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Mazel tov.
See you tomorrow. Thank you, guys.
Shabbat shalom.
We're going to continue welcoming in Shabbat with the welcoming of our Shabbat angels with the words of Shalom Aleichem. Whoops, sorry, it stopped. Let's try that again. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Sharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Sharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachanu Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachanu Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachanu Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא צאתכם לשלום מלכי השלום מלכי עליון מי מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא לה 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 לה
I love that melody. It's hard for me to keep up with you, Cantor, but I love that melody. Beautiful.
You'll learn.
Yeah, maybe. I think lots of us know that one of the metaphors the rabbi used to talk about Shabbat and explain Shabbat is that of a wedding, a marriage. Of course, Shabbat represents the marriage between God and the Jewish people. But we also celebrate all love and all marriage on Shabbat. And it is my distinct honor now to invite Hannah and Avery to join us. We're going to bring them in. There they are. Hannah and Avery are going to be married pretty soon. They'll be under the chuppah. And I think all of us who have gone through this very strange past 9 months can understand what a long and winding and difficult and bumpy and disappointing road it has been for both of you in planning and executing a wedding, and frankly, pretty much every young couple that was planning on being married this year. And at the risk of sounding like an old married guy, I do want to share with both of you that I think that's a pretty good metaphor for marriage. It is a winding road with ups and downs. And I just want to share with you one little bit of Hebrew wisdom. You're going to be under the chuppah with my good friend, Rabbi Wolpe, and he's going to do an amazing job. And I hope that he wasn't planning on using this idea because I'm using it now. And I think it's an important idea. It has to do with the Hebrew word for marriage, which is nisuin. Nisuin comes from the word to carry. If you've ever seen, for example, a picture of a groom carrying a bride over a threshold, it's because of this Hebrew word for marriage, which means to carry. And in a moment, I'm going to recite a very beautiful blessing for both of you, Avery and Hannah. But right now, I want you to think about that word, nisuin, to hold each other, to carry each other. Carry each other through the good, carry each other through the bad, through the difficult, through the joyous. Hold each other up. And if you do that, if you really carry each other, I promise you in that holding, you too will be beautifully and gently held by the other. And that's really my hope and my prayer for you and all of us watching tonight who love you. And it's my great honor to recite these words of blessing for both of you. Misha berach avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov, imotenu Sarah, Rivka, Rachel v'Leah, hu yivarech hechatan v'hakala. May God, who blessed Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel, bestow blessing upon you, Hannah, and you, Avery, who are soon to enter into the holy covenant of marriage. As you are with us this evening, side by side, may you always stand side by side. May you always strengthen and sanctify your love for each other. May you always carry each other in your home and in the congregation of your people. May God help you to face the future with faith, not only in each other, but in God. May you learn that the deepest meaning of love is to share life's trials as well as life's joys. May you come to understand that your union must be founded on righteousness and truth, on kindness and mercy, on patience and mutual forbearance. May you establish a home of loyalty and love, of holiness and peace, a place where your many, many many, many, many Jewish children will grow in health and happiness, in the knowledge of Torah, and in the practice of righteous deeds. May your marriage be sealed with the words of the prophet, and I will betroth you unto me forever. And I will betroth you unto me in righteousness and in justice and in loving kindness and in compassion. And I will betroth you unto me in faithfulness, and you shall know Adonai. Amen. Now we want to bless you. Cantor Peicott is going to lead us all in a Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen. Mazel tov, you guys. So happy for you.
Mazel tov. Now, I want your mom's there, right, Hannah? Any other parents there? Just your mom?
And my dad.
Okay, so put him on camera for 1 second, okay?
Hey, guys.
Hey, guys. We want to wish you Mazel Tov, and in case you missed it, I want you to be aware I put in an order that was 5 many children, okay?
We heard.
So you got 5 grandchildren coming, okay?
We appreciate it.
Right.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
Bye, guys. Shabbat shalom.
Avery, Hannah, Mazel Tov. Shabbat shalom.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Ah, the best. Nothing more hopeful than that.
Yep.
And now Lecha Dodi. So remember, I mentioned a few minutes ago that one of the chief metaphors, primary metaphors for Shabbat is this marriage between God and the Jewish people. And this is the song, this acrostic poem, by which we actually welcome the Sabbath bride into our hearts, into our homes, into our virtual shul. Jews all over the world are singing Lecha Dodi tonight and rising for the last verse and facing the entrance of the synagogue to welcome in the Sabbath bride. So for those of us who are sitting near a doorway, please feel free for the last verse to rise and face the doorway, and if not literally, at least metaphorically, to welcome Shabbat into our homes. And as I said earlier, it's been quite a week, and it's really not a moment too soon that Shabbat has arrived. So let us begin. What verses are we going to do tonight?
We're going to verses 1, 2, and 9.
1, 2, and 9. Okay, Lecha Dodi, everyone.
Yalla la 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 Lecha Dodi, Yalla la 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 likrat kala, Yalla la 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 Penei Shabbat lekabela, Shamor vezachor bedibur echad, Hishmianu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, Ushemo echad, Leshemu tiferet velitchila, Yai lai lai, Yalla la 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 Lecha Dodi, Yalla la 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 likrat kala, Yalla la 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 Penei Shabbat lekabela, לקראת שבת, לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, בראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תהילה, יאי לי לי, יאללה לה לה לי לך דודי, יאללה לה לה לי לקראת כלה, יאללה לה לה לי פני שבת, פני שבת לקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמונה עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, יאי לי לי, יאללה לה לה לי לך דודי, יאללה לה לה לי לקראת כלה, יאללה לה לה לי פני שבת, פני שבת לקבלה.
So beautiful, so beautiful. And now we really enter into the prayer section of our service with the Baruch Hu, our call to worship. This is the moment where we sing out to God that we're ready. We're ready to pray. We're ready to count our blessings. So let us rise now for the Baruch Hu.
Lai 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 Baruchu et Adonai Hamevorach, Baruch Adonai Hamevorach, Hamevorach le'olam va'ed, Hamevorach, Hamevorach le'olam va'ed. In just a moment, we're going to join together for the recitation, I can't speak tonight, of the Shema, the watchword of our people. Words which mean to listen to all of the different voices around us, to listen to the deepest parts of us, what it is that we want this Shabbat. It's been such a difficult week. We're basically back at ground zero of where we started almost 9 months ago, heading towards more shutdowns, more lost celebrations. And this is the time to listen to what it is that we need deep, deep down in our soul, to open our ears and to open our hearts to hear what is deep inside. So I invite you to take a deep breath at home, to silence yourself, to listen as we prepare to recite the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. We join together in the words of the Ve'ahavta. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We're about to now sing the Michamocha. It comes from the oldest Hebrew poem we know of, directly from the Torah. This poem, sometimes called the Song of the Sea, the song our ancestors sang after successfully escaping the slavery of Egypt. And I have often noted, for those of you who are regular attendees, that we tend to think about freedom in a kind of monolithic way or singular way. But if you think more deeply about freedom, there are actually two kinds of freedom. This is something Bertrand Russell talked about in an essay he wrote about freedom. There's freedom from, and that's what the Michamocha is about, the freedom from slavery. But there's another kind of freedom, which is freedom to. And I'd like us all to think for a moment, those of us who are safe at home, watching this virtually, those of us who are fortunate enough to be able to work from home, who are fortunate enough to still be able to make a living somehow during this pandemic. I'd like us, all of us who are free from the worst misery of this pandemic, to think about how we can use our freedom from the worst that is happening and make it freedom to. Freedom to ease the suffering of others. Let's give that some thought this Shabbat. If we would use this Shabbat to think about how we use our freedom from the worst of the pandemic and turn it into freedom to help those who are really suffering, it'll be a more beautiful Shabbos and a more beautiful world. Michamocha.
Beautiful. Ya ba ba bim bim bam, ya ba 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 bim bam, ya ba ba bim bim bam, ya ba 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 bim bam. Dai 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 dai, ya ba 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 bim bam. Dai 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 dai, ya ba 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 bim bam. Mi chamocha v'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar v'kodesh, Torah tehilot osefele, Torah tehilot osefele, ma'alechotecha ra'u banecha, bokei Ei Moshe Miriam Zeli Anu Veyamru Adonai Imlo Leolam Vaed. The next prayer that we have is the Hashkivenu, our evening prayer. We ask God to spread a Sukkot Shlomecha, to spread God's sheltering presence over all of us in the world undergoing these very difficult times. And we have a very special Hashkivenu video for you. One of our Wilshire Boulevard Temple youth choir, some of you have seen her at Irma's Friday night services. But this is the Hashkivenu sung by Sadie Bernstein.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom, Leshalom, V'ha'amidenu Malkeinu L'chaim. Ufrutz aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha, Ufrutz aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
So beautiful. And now the Amidah, the centerpiece of our Friday night service, sometimes called the standing prayers. And I'd urge us all to think, as we rise for the Amidah, what is it that we want to stand for in the coming week? We rise now for the Amidah.
Adonai sefatai tiftachu v'yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. Ha'el hagadol hagibur v'hanora, El Elyon, Gomel chasadim tovim, Vekonei hakol, Vezocher chazdei avot ve'imahot, Umevi geula livnei bneihem, Leman shemo be'ahava. Melech ozer umoshia umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Atah gibor leolam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah, Rav lehoshia. Mashiv haruach, Umorid hagashem. Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al geburot, Umido melach, melech memit umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'neheman ata lehachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol.
The rabbis built into the Amidah silence. There's a whole section of the Amidah that is said silently and makes room for the prayers of our heart. One of the things that this pandemic, I think, has taught many of us is that in some ways, not in all ways, but in some ways, less really is more. That in the slowing down of life, in the shutting down of regular life, much like Shabbat itself, by the way, if you really observe it, that vacuum of frenetic activity and chaos leaves behind quiet and the opportunity to really think. So let's use this time now to slow our minds, to slow our breathing, and to really, really think about the week that has passed, about the week to come, and our role in making the world better. We're about to sing the Mishaberach with Cantor Peicott. And I want to offer a suggestion, something I'm going to do tonight for the Mishaberach. This has been a very difficult week for our congregation. I have, this week with temple members, dealt with 4 deaths. In one case, the death of a child. 3 new diagnoses of cancer, 2 young adults in very serious trouble in terms of their mental health. And I think all of us in our own ways are encountering more pain and suffering than we have ever encountered in our lives. And I can tell you that it takes its toll on each of us, whether we're afflicted or not. I can tell you it's taken its toll on me this week. I am exhausted by the suffering. And so when we say the Mishaberach tonight, we can say it not only for the people we love who are suffering and need our prayers, but let's claim the right to say it for ourselves, for all of us who carry the weight of the suffering of others, for all of us who carry the weight of watching the news and the numbers. Let us pray for healing, not only for others, but for ourselves as well, as we enter now into the Mishaberach.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor habracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Visheberach imotenu mekol habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom again, everyone. Let me set the stage for my drash tonight. Let me set the stage so that we're all on the same page or same column of the Torah tonight. We're in the midst of the Jacob story tonight. You might recall that Jacob, 20 years before this Torah portion, cheated his older brother Esau out of the birthright blessing, out of the right to inherit the family fortune and the responsibility for leading the Jewish people forward. And immediately after Jacob cheats his older brother and his older brother Esau finds out, Esau's angry and Jacob flees. He runs away to his uncle's home and he spends 20 years there, marries his two first cousins, which was very common back then, creates his own life. And one day he hears that his brother Esau, after 20 years, is marching toward him with an army of 400 men. So Jacob has a torturous dream that night, a dream in which he's wrestling with some sort of man god and ends up injured and walking with a limp as a result. His name is changed from Yaakov to Yisrael, from Jacob, the supplanter, to Yisrael, the one who struggles with God. And in the morning, Jacob wakes up. He divides his camp into two so that if Esau attacks one, the other can get away safely. And then he sends messengers out to meet Esau, and Esau is marching toward him. And when Esau finally arrives, Jacob bows 7 times in front of him and awaits what he is certain will be his death, as his older brother seeks revenge. And Jacob's mentality in that moment is so quintessentially Jewish because it is so dark and pessimistic. There are a lot of jokes, and we often joke about things that aren't really funny. We use humor to address things that really aren't that funny. And this is certainly true when it comes to Jewish pessimism. There's so many jokes about Jews thinking the worst and being pessimistic. I could tell you many of them. I'm just going to share one, my favorite one, which is the Jewish pessimist says, "Oh, things couldn't be worse." To which the Jewish optimist replies, "Of course they could." So you see, even a Jewish optimist is incredibly pessimistic. And that's the rap on the Jewish people, and it happens to be true. Many of you know I wrote a book 3 years ago about pain and suffering and how to transcend pain and suffering. And in my research for that book, I looked pretty deeply into something that psychologists and psychiatrists call catastrophizing. It is a very common human trait to catastrophize the future. And one of the studies I read by a pain doctor was a study in which they took two patients with identical diagnoses, identical diseases, identical diagnosis, identical prognosis. And one of the patients catastrophized the future, was pessimistic about his chances, and went to the dark side, emotionally, psychologically. The other patient was optimistic about his future and treatment and prognosis. Same exact diagnosis and prognosis, different attitude. And the studies showed that the patient who catastrophized required exponentially more pain medication than the patient who was optimistic. So this tells us that our attitude has a profound effect on our lives. And here's Jacob with his head bowed, expecting the very worst. Those of you who know the story know that the worst is not what happens. Esau sees him, and he immediately breaks into tears and hugs and kisses his little brother, who he hasn't seen for 20 years. The anger is long gone, and only really the love and affection remain. Someone once said, the world is full of terrible things, and most of them never happen. So for those of us who are a little down this week, for those of us who are catastrophizing the future, I urge you not to make the mistake that Jacob made in thinking the worst, because the worst is not what happened. Something quite beautiful emerged when those two brothers' eyes met. So let us be optimistic about the future. Let us not catastrophize. Let us remember, right, the national anthem of the Jewish people, Hatikva, the hope. Let's remember that in Hebrew, you can't ever really say goodbye. There's no real Hebrew word for goodbye. We say lehitraot, which means until we meet again. I'll see you again. We end our Passover Seder with Bashana Haba Yerushalayim, an affirmation of hope. We fling open the door to welcome Elijah, the prophet of redemption and hope. And soon we're entering into Hanukkah. Many of you know the debate in the Talmud about the Chanukiah, the Hanukkah menorah. The debate about whether we should start with 8 candles and on day 1, then 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let the light diminish the way the oil in the lamp diminished in the temple. Or do we have 1 candle on day 1, 2 on day 2, 3 on day 3, and we add up until 8 candles? And the decision by the rabbis is we start with 1, then 2, then 3. We add because it's our destiny to bring light to the world, to add light to the world, not to diminish light in the world. So for all of us who sometimes flirt with pessimism, let's all work really hard to remember, yes, the world is full of terrible things, most of which never happen. And let's remember Jacob and Esau and the beautiful happy ending that was theirs. And so may it be for us all. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, Yasher Koach.
Thank you.
So we started off with the title of this Shabbat service, which is Celebration Shabbat. We celebrated 2 incredible B'nai Mitzvah. We saw a beautiful Chatan and Kala, a bride and groom about to get married. And we also have an opportunity to celebrate all of the members of our community who perhaps their celebrations have been canceled. But as Jews, no matter what happens, we always continue to celebrate, and we look towards that time when we can all be together and celebrate once again in person. So this is a little video honoring all of our November and December birthdays, anniversaries, and anything in between. Sure.
Cantor, before, I just got an email to add to the list. Lee Bogdanoff celebrated his 60th birthday on November 28th.
Oh my goodness.
Lee and Deb are watching. So Lee, we want to add you to the video that's going to come. Happy birthday to you. Happy 60th. I'm 60. It's an awesome decade. Welcome to the family.
That
Go
was
ahead.
like
Sorry.
perfect timing. So here's a video of all of our November and December celebrations, simchas. We're all with you as one community, and we have many things to look forward to celebrate together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'ehiyanu v'kimanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'ehiyanu v'kimanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh.
So nice. There is nothing more important than another year. So happy birthday to everyone who had a birthday in November or is having one in December. And by the way, I forgot to say, Judge Lee Bogdanoff, right? Your Honor, happy birthday. We're very, very happy for you. Well, you never know when you might be appearing in front of the judge, so you got to stay on his good side, right? Shabbat Shalom again, everyone. Just a very quick announcement. Thanks actually to Cantor Peicott. It was her idea. We have put together 8 crazy virtual nights and a couple in person for Hanukkah, 8 crazy quarantine nights where we're going to be offering you 8 different ways, one on each night, to celebrate Hanukkah from home or safely in your car. We have some drive-by and drive-through Hanukkah events planned. So please, please pay attention to your temple emails because it's all in there. You can also always go to the temple website, wbtla.org, and learn about everything we're doing to celebrate Hanukkah and to bring more light into the world. I also want to say a special thank you to Jess and to Justine, who are behind the scenes running our service tonight. And of course, thank you to Cantor Peicott. And congratulations again to Lev and to Ella and to Avery and Hannah, who are soon to be married. There's a lot to celebrate. There's a lot of good in the world. And yes, the world is full of terrible things, most of which never happen. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And now it is time for us to transition and start turning our hearts and minds to Kaddish, to Shloshim and Yortzeit. We think of not only our loved ones who have died, but the close to 300,000 in our country and the million or more all over the world who have suffered because of this microscopic virus. It will be behind us someday, but right now there's a lot of sadness in the world, and we pause to take that in and reckon with it with words of Kaddish. So let us now enter into moments of Kaddish.
We begin now with the names of those loved ones of our congregation who have died during this Shloshim, this past 30 days. Leah Barshap, Evelyn Buckspan, Ruth Cohen, Yerusha Rebecca Simantov Darvish, Gary Andryden, Fred Furman, Lee Gelfond, Charles Leonard Levin, Lois Liebhopper, Matthew Madwin, Peter Meyerson, Rosangela Rinsky, Leah Sauter, Steffi Shadle, Linda Scher, Lee Simon, Bernard Bob Tuman, Rabbi Yekutiel Tzvi Shalpit, and Werner Wolfen. We add to their names the names of those whose yortzites, the anniversary of whose deaths, were commemorated during this past week. Lawrence Edelman, Isaac Alex, Suzanne Altfeld, Martin August, Morris Barkin, Anne Baracco, Sarah Baum, Jerry Bendit, Jacob Burlfine, Milton Blaine, Janice Block, Elke Brenzel, Hyman Bubar, Ray Bubar, Alexandra Buck, Harvey Kemmer, Etta Daniels, Muriel Corwin, Ben Dan, Sylvia David, Marge Farber, Shirley Levine Fisher, Roger Fox, Evelyn Freeman, Bernard Friedman, Joseph Goldman, Abraham Goldberg, Leonard Goldberg, Sandy Gordon, Ruth Green, Tuba Hakim, Harold Hecht, Sherry Herzog, Donald Hester, Larry Hill, Harry Holmberg, Sylvan Howard Goldinger, Gertrude Hutchinson, George Jacobs, Madeline Carnes, Goldie Katz, Ann Ketover, Eva Kirshner, Bernard Kislin, Jenny Littman-Klein, Max Cole, Tilly Crevin, Minnie Leisner, Herman Lewin, Erna Levis, Lillian Lyons, Marion Marblestone, Michael Mason, Esther Myers-Green, David Millett, Adeline Newberg, Maurice Oakham, Frederick Pashkow, Eleanor Phillips, Dorothy Plager, Aaron Pollock, Theodore Pritikin, Joan Rex, Harry Rose, Edith Solomon Rotman, Mark Sandrich Jr., Jenny Sauer, Betty Skadron, Herman Schmidt, Albert Schwartz, Carl Schwartzbaum, Morton Seidel, Dorothy Seiler, Lillian Shane, Faye Schurer, Seymour Smith, Sylvia Spiller, Jack Stoch, Marshall Wagman, Eleanor Weingart, Bruce Winokur, Violet Wilkinson, Samuel Witz, and Cindy Wool. We add to their names the names of those we do not know, but to whom we are deeply grateful. All of those who have died defending the United States of America and the State of Israel. The innocent victims of terrorism and tragedy all over the world. And everyone who has no one to say Kaddish for them. We take them all as our own as we join together now in Kaddish.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute. V'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayeh d'chol Beit Yisrael. V'galau v'zman kari v'yimaru. Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbah mevorach leolam o'amei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal Shemei Kudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imaru. Amen. Yehi shalom rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imaru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imaru. Amen.
We conclude our service with a prayer for peace with the words of Oseh Shalom. Again, we're going to leave you with the Sheer Joy Youth Choir, and I just want to quickly acknowledge the members: Malin Scott, Dorothy Vogel, Jasmine Sorgan, Gemma Harari, Talia Maya, Eli Zipkin, Charlie Lewinston, Paloma Robinson, Sadie Bernstein, Emily Levin, Naomi Love, Zoe Temkin, Isabel Matloff. Those are my babies, my singer babies, and they are our hope and our future. So what better way to recite the words of Oseh Shalom than from the voice
Shabbat
of
Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat
Have
Shalom,
a beautiful
everyone.
Shabbos.
Oseh Shalom bimroma. Say shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom b'ro.